Hey, fascist. Catch. These shocking words were not just shouted in anger or posted on social media. They were actually found written on a bullet casing linked to the suspect accused of targeting conservative commentator Charlie Kirk, a discovery that has sent shockwaves through the nation and raised serious questions about the dangerous rise of politically motivated violence in America. Investigators say this detail is one of the most chilling elements of the case, because it shows not only intent to harm, but also a symbolic message meant to intimidate, a message aimed directly at silencing someone for their beliefs. And as soon as this news broke, it sparked outrage, debate, and fear across the political spectrum. According to officials, law enforcement teams are now working around the clock to retrace the suspect's steps, trying to learn where the ammunition came from, whether the words were carved in advance as part of a premeditated plan, and if the suspect had any connections to extremist groups or online communities that openly encourage violence against those they label fascists, a term often used in heated political arguments. Charlie Kirk himself responded quickly, calling the act not only an attempt on his life, but also a dangerous attack on free speech and democracy, stressing that no one in America should be targeted with violence just because of their political views. While many conservative leaders echoed his warning, demanding stronger protections for public figures and calling on authorities to send a clear message that this type of politically driven violence will not be tolerated. On the other side, progressive voices and civil rights groups are also weighing in, with many condemning the attempted attack as completely unacceptable, while at the same time pointing to the toxic climate of name-calling, hostility, and online radicalization that has fueled tensions nationwide. Experts note that writing a phrase on a bullet is rare and deeply disturbing, often done as a psychological weapon to send fear beyond just a target, making this case even more alarming. Federal investigators are now combing through the suspect's social media, online posts, and communication history, searching for possible signs of planning, ideological motivation, or outside influence. And there is growing concern that the publicity of this case could even inspire copycat acts, a scenario that has security officials on high alert. Reactions from the public have been intense, with hashtags linked to Charlie Kirk and the phrase, "Hey, fascist." Catch! Trending across platforms like X, Instagram, and YouTube, where thousands of people are expressing shock, anger, and concern for the state of the country. Supporters of Kirk are rallying behind him, saying this is proof that conservative voices are under constant attack. While critics argue that the non-stop cycle of inflammatory rhetoric on both sides is what has made political violence more likely than ever before, legal analysts say prosecutors could use the bullet inscription as evidence of motive and clear intent, possibly making the charges even more serious, while commentators are comparing this case to other recent incidents where political figures, judges, or even local leaders have been threatened or attacked, pointing to a growing trend that seems to be escalating instead of slowing down. What makes this story stand out is not just the attempt itself, but the way it reflects the fragile state of political discourse in America today, where words are no longer limited to heated debates on TV or social media, but are now being carved into bullets meant to kill. This disturbing discovery forces us to ask tough questions. How do we get here? How can we step back from this dangerous path before violence becomes a new normal? And what responsibility do media outlets, political leaders, and even everyday citizens have in lowering the temperature of our national conversations? As the investigation continues, with the suspect in custody and charges expected soon, one thing is clear. The words, "Hey, fascist, catch," will not be forgotten anytime soon, serving as a chilling reminder just how far America's divisions have gone and how urgently the country must confront the dangerous mix of hatred, fear, and political polarization before it leads to even more violence in the future.